Historically, a person's flight from a crime scene was considered strong evidence of the person's guilty conscience. But it's now recognized that innocent people sometimes flee, often because they distrust the justice system or are unwilling to appear as witnesses. In United States v. Dillon, we explore the impact of that change in understanding on the admissibility of flight evidence in a criminal trial. In March of 1983, Columbus, Ohio resident Thomas Dillon supplied Edward Knezevich with 1 pound of cocaine, which Knezevich then sold to Sheila Bezotsky, not knowing that she was working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Knezevich was subsequently convicted of drug offenses. Over 18 months later, in December of 1984, Knezevich contacted Dillon to say that he'd been subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury concerning Dillon's role in the cocaine deal. When Knezevich subsequently tried, per his arrangement with the government, to contact Dillon while wearing a wire, he couldn't reach Dillon. And a few days later, on Christmas, Dillon failed to collect his children from his ex-wife for visitation. For 2 years, Dillon only contacted his family by phone from an undisclosed location. Eventually, in 1987, Dillon was arrested in Florida, where he was living under an assumed name. He was then charged with various federal drug offenses. At trial, the government sought to introduce evidence of Dillon's flight as proof of his guilt. Dillon objected, arguing that because his departure from Columbus was almost 2 years after the alleged criminal conduct, and before he'd been indicted of any crime, he had no reason to flee. The district court disagreed, admitting the evidence, and the jury ultimately convicted Dillon. Dillon appealed to the Sixth Circuit.